Now about the torches. There's a bunch of types of torches you use. This is what I like to use. Okay, let's turn this so you can see it a little better. Okay, this is just a Burns-O-Matic. It goes down to a propane tank. Cost me $35. The adapter so I could hook it onto a bigger tank was another $10. And a big tank will last me a year. I also have an acetylene torch, which isn't necessary. I also have this guy right here, which I actually love. This is perfect for small jobs. This is a professional quality one. This isn't one of those little cheap Harbor Freight ones. I've gone through like 6 or 7 of those before I actually got a good one. This is made by Blazer, and I've had this for, I don't know, maybe 5 years now. It runs on just regular butane fuel. But I'm gonna use this thing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn it on. Let's turn this down a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna turn this on, and I'm gonna turn the flame down really low, because for this right here, I don't want to burn it up. And I go mostly by my ear when I turn it on, because the flame's blue and it's hard to see. So I go mostly when I hear it. Hold on. Let me get down here and turn this thing. All right, here we go. Now I listen. There we go. There, and now I got a nice. It's still a hot flame, but it's a lot softer than I mean, this thing goes. Here, let me show you. I'm not doing that. I'm gonna go down here. It's barely on. Oops. I still got you. Yeah, I go by sound. You just barely see the flame. I got my 2 pieces right here. This one and this one. And I'm gonna put them on my little thing here. Let me show you what I got going on here. I got a fire brick, and then I got this little ceramic thing, and I'm putting these end to end. Voila. Oops. They don't match end to end. Now, important thing about soldering silver is it has to match perfectly, or they won't stick. Solder will not fill in a gap. It's not like that cheap lead silver solder that people use all the time for plumbing now, the low temperature plumbing solder. You know, excuse me, that stuff's thick, and it will fill a gap. Silver solder is not thick, and it will not fill a gap. All right, what I've done is I've taken these 2 pieces. Let me get out of there. And I said it's very important that that there's no gap. The way the solder spreads is through capillary action or capillary action. So if your 2 pieces don't match perfectly, the silver won't flow properly. Alright, now here, let me cut this thing off here. Okay, what I do is I got my little snippet of silver, of solder, and I set it right across the hole. Okay, now when I heat this, it's very important that I heat both sides at the same time. Because the way solder goes to the hottest point, if both sides aren't heated together, then the solder will go to one side or the other, and you won't have it won't seal. It won't form a solder joint. So very carefully, I heat both sides. Oh, you can see, I don't know if you can see that in the picture, but the flux is turning white, just like I predicted. It's turning clear. Solder's melting and spreading. And there we go. Oh, it looks like it spread a little more on one side than the other. And there you are. Now, you can see from cooking it, it's turned it all black. That's when you put it into what's called your pickle pot. Pickle, let me look back here. Pickle is a kind of acid. The most popular one is called Sparex. Whoops, it's called Sparex, and it comes in a bag or a can, and it's some sort of acid. I buy just the generic one, granular dry acid compound. Sodium bisulfate appears to be the active ingredient. Here's, let's see. Oh, it doesn't have the price on it, but it's like, I don't know, $3 or $4 for that can. And you mix that with a quart of water, and it lasts forever. And then what I like to do is I've got this, let's look over here. I've got this little crock pot thing here. Ooh, no lid on it. And I keep my pickle in there, and I can turn it on, and then I can just drop this in the warm pickle, and it pretty quickly removes all the fire scale and tarnish from the copper oxides. Give it a second here, and we'll take a look at that. While that's going on, let me just show you something else that's really cool about silver. Silver is called the white metal, and it's a very, very soft metal. It's hard to believe how soft it is. Okay, here's a piece. Here, let me grab a piece here. Okay, this piece right here, 22 gauge silver. This is fairly thick. I could just take a pair of scissors, just regular old, what do you call this? Fabric scissors, and it cuts the silver like nothing. Now they make specialized shears for silver. They give you more leverage, have a straighter edge. And I got one of these. This is a German one over here that's kind of curved, so it's easier to cut pieces out. But really, you don't need any of that if you just got a good pair of steel scissors. I wouldn't use plastic fiskers, but that's me personally. Okay, let me see how that solder's going, and I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Got the piece out of the pickle. You can see it's all clean now. And you can see that solder joint is every bit as strong as the rest of the metal. I take a file, dress it up, maybe my Dremel with one of those, what are they called, Cratex sanding discs. I can clean up the joint. I used quite a bit of solder on this one so you'd see what was going on. I could have got away with half that amount of solder actually. But anyway, there's my lesson. I hope you learned something. I hope I'm able to patch this together into something that makes sense to y'all. And happy Thanksgiving, and I'll see you next video. As I patch this video together, there may be a bunch of jumps here and there. I changed the silver I was going to solder. I did things didn't like how they turned out, so I refilmed them. So if you notice some discrepancies in the timeline or the flow of the video, please excuse that. And just so you know, there's hundreds of ways to do any one thing. This is the way I learned. I'm pretty much self-taught. And the number one thing to being successful at any of these hobbies is to pursue them. If you're afraid to waste a couple dollars worth of silver, you'll never become a silversmith. The great thing about silver is after you're done, if you don't like it, you can always melt it down and cast it. The silver doesn't go away, and it always maintains its value. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video.